All right, today's EOG review is going to be on unit rate. Remember, to find unit rate, it's going to be finding the rate for one of something or per one of something. So anytime it has a singular unit, like miles per gallon, that's per 1 gallon, or miles per hour, that's per 1 hour. If it's talking about basketball, points per game, what they average per 1 game, or football, yards per carry, that's per 1 carry, what they average per rush. Okay, so the denominator is always going to be 1. We got to get it down to 1. And to get anything down to 1, we're going to be dividing all day. So, here's our first example of unit rate. You're going to see this quite often on the EOG. It says, what is the best buy? So we're going to be looking for the cheapest price per ounce. And that is actually our math problem right here. Cheapest price per ounce means it's going to be the dollar amount divided by the ounces. All right, so I'm going to show you the long way to set it up. But once you get in the habit of doing this stuff, you get good at it, you're going to see it's basically going to be, you find your per, the word per, and that's going to be the math problem. So price per ounce literally means the dollar amount divided by ounces. Money's going to go first 99.9% of the time. But to set this up, if I do it the right way, first my ticket is going to be the dollar amount over the ounces amount. So the first one, I have $1.02 for 12 ounces. Now, if it's looking for the best buy, the trap answer, my students who aren't paying attention are going to be like, oh, it must be this price is the cheapest because it's literally the lowest dollar amount here. That's not what it's asking. It says the cheapest per ounce. So we got to do division for all these and get all of these down to 1. So to get this first one down to 1, to go from 12 to 1, I divide it by 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1. What did I top to the bottom? And 1.02 divided by 12 gives me 0.085 or 0.085, which would round to 9 cents. We do that with money, but I'm going to keep it as 0.085 for now because that'll be important later. The next one, we have, I'm going to keep money over ounces for all of them. So I have $1.26 for 15 ounces. We got to get that down to 1. So obviously I'm dividing each of these by 15, divided by 15, divided by 15. And when you type in 1.26 divided by 15, we get 0.084. So this next one, 0.084. This one would stay round down or stay at 8 cents per. But again, we're going to keep it to our thousands place just because it's going to matter at the end. Last but not least, money over ounces. I have $1.62 for 20 ounces. We got to get that down to 1 to go from 20 to 1. Obviously divide it by itself. So 20 divided by 20 is 1. What I do to the top, do the bottom. So 1.62 divided by 20 gives us 0.081. 0.081. So obviously, look, they all start with 0.08. So that's why it's important to go to the third decimal place here to figure out what our cheapest option would be in between 0.085, 0.084, 0.081. This would be our cheapest option. So you would say the 20-ounce jar of whatever this is would be our best buy. That's the cheapest option for us. It matters in the long run because after 100 ounces of this would cost you, we move it twice, $8.50, $8.40, $8.10. So not much, but over a long time, that would start to matter financially. All right, based on that, there's 3 examples here. Again, should be able to do these 3 since this is your review. Go ahead, pause the video, and set up each problem to try these 3 on your own. All right, hopefully you pause the video. Let's try these. The 2 different units that are being compared are donuts and calories. But look, it says in 1 donut. So that means our 1 is going to be wherever you have donuts in your ticket, that's where the second one's got to be. So it's not always going to be the first number divided by the second number. That wouldn't make sense. If 8 donuts have 160 calories, if you did 8 divided by 160, that gives you 0.05. That would not make sense for a donut to have 0.05 calories because after 8, it definitely wouldn't add up to 160. So make sure you're setting this up correctly. We're comparing calories. Actually, let's give ourselves some more room. For number 1, we got calories and we got donuts. Okay, how many calories? Well, there's 160 for 8 of those calories. We don't care about those 8. We want to know how much one donut has. It's disappearing on me. It's weird. All right, so to go from 8 to 1, we obviously divide by 8, divide by 8. And if you type in 160 divided by 8, that gives you 20. And in this case, 20 over 1 means 20 calories per donut. How many calories are in one donut? One donut, 20. Next one, Jeff's working for extra money this summer. He earns $32.50. Look, I see money. I would get in the habit of putting money over everything. In this case, money over hours. We have $32.52 in 4 hours. We want to know what he makes per hour. That's per 1 hour. And you got it. To go from 4 to 1, you got to divide by 4. Divide anything by itself to get down to 1. Divide by 4, divide by 4. 32.52 divided by 4 gives me 8.13, which means he makes $8.13 per hour. Last but not least, look, it's not always the first number divided by the second number. In the end, it says how many bags of Skittles does he eat each minute. That's also known like per 1 minute. So wherever I have minute, that's where the 1 has got to be. I would get in the habit of putting whatever the singular per number or per unit is, that number as a denominator. So in this case, we're comparing Skittles or bags of Skittles to minutes. So he does 6 bags in a minute and a half. Even if you put 1.5 on top, as long as you put the 1 in the right place, it doesn't matter. So each minute, I got minutes here, so I'll put the 1 minute there. That's each minute means 1 minute. Now to go from 1.5 to 1, you got to divide by that number. So divide both the top and the bottom by 1.5. 6 divided by 1.5 gives you 4. And in this case, 4 over 1 means 4 bags per minute. The answer would be 4 there. All right, moving on. When you see unit rate from tables, it's going to be asking you to compare prices a lot. In this case, it says, what is the most expensive item Tanya sold? So we got to find out what the unit price is for each and every single one of these baked goods items. We got apple pie, corn muffins, oatmeal cookies, and banana bread. We cannot compare off the bat because each one of the numbers sold is different. So we got to get all the numbers sold down to 1. So in this case, it's going to be money over everything. We'd have money over apple pie, money over corn muffins, so on and so forth. But like I said, once you get in the habit of it, we just know it's the dollar amount divided by the number sold. If I'm doing quick math here, $48 divided by 8 is $6. $15 divided by 5 is $3. $30 divided by 15 is $2. Last but not least, $30 divided by 6 gives me $5. So it's asking for the most expensive item would be our $6 per each. Our apple pie would be the most expensive. I want you to try this one on your own. Pause the video. This one's not looking for the most expensive. It is looking for the least expensive. So which is the cheapest item? Go ahead and pause the video. Try it on your own. All right, hopefully you pause the video just like I did the problem before. It's the dollar amount divided by the number sold. So when I do 224 divided by 28, that gives me $8 per pennant. The next one, 80 divided by 5 gives me $16 per fleece. Dividing the sweatshirt, 600 divided by 40 is $15. And last but not least, the logo cap, the hat, 1,200 divided by 80 was also $15 per hat. So looking at the least expensive per item, that would go to the $8 item, the pennant. The pennant is the cheapest item per unit, per one of them. Last but not least, what you're going to see on the work is applying the unit rate. Now this happens when we have two units that don't directly go into each other. Like in the past, if this was a 6, we could just do times 2 times 2. But since I have 3 days and 7 days, there is not a whole number that goes into it evenly. So I'm gonna have to find the unit rate first. We're gonna have to break it down to 1 first before multiplying back up to 7. So again, when I set this up, my ticket is centimeters over days. In this case, 4.5 centimeters in 3 days. And ultimately, we want to know how much that's going to grow in 7 days, in 1 week. Well, I know that 3 does not go into 7 evenly, so I'm going to get it down to 1. We are going to find the unit rate first. Once I know the unit rate, I can answer any question or any number that they followed up with. So first of all, when I'm going down, to go from 3 to 1, I'm dividing like we just did the past couple slides. 3 divided by 3 is 1. What I do top, do the bottom. So if you type in 4.5 divided by 3, that gives you 1.5. What does that mean in this problem? It means that it grows 1.5 centimeters, 1.5 centimeters each day. Once I know that, to go back up from 1 to 7, we're going up, we've got to multiply. So 1 times 7, 7. What do you type to the bottom? You type in 1.5 times 7, that gives you 10.5. What that means is in 1 week, in 7 days, it grows 10.5 centimeters. 10.5 is your final answer. Take a mental note of that, write it in your notebook if you need to, and then move on to try this one on your own. Pause the video, give it a try. All right, last slide, I believe. So let's hopefully get this one right. The units that are being compared, I got miles to gallons. Remember, the units typically follow the numbers. So we got miles we're comparing to gallons. That's our ticket. Now our rate, it says it goes 175 miles on 5 gallons of gas. Eventually, we want to know how far it's going on 8 gallons of gas. Well, ask yourself, does 5 go into 8 evenly? No. There is no whole number I can multiply 5 by to get 8. So I'm going to find the unit rate first. We got to get it down to 1 first. So our first step is to divide before we multiply back up. So to go from 5 to 1, divide the top and the bottom by 5. 5 divided by 5 is obviously 1. And then 175 divided by 5 gives me 35. What does this pink box mean? It means that this car can go 35 miles per gallon. On 1 gallon of gas, it goes 35 miles. Once you know that, you can answer any question with the following number. Well, it goes 35 miles on 1 gallon. How can it go? How far can it go on 8 gallons? Just multiply back up. 1 times 8 is 8. So 35 times 8 gives me 280 miles. On 8 gallons of gas, that car is going 280 miles. Hopefully that all made sense. If it did not, go ahead and YouTube some other videos or replay it. Pause it as you need to go. But based on that, we should be ready to do today's lesson. Fill in your tracker when you're done.